Welcome, everyone, to Season 3, Episode 15 of the Cosmic Reads. What?
15?
Episode 80, if you're counting. Like a lot of it.
Yeah, that's when I track it. 80.
Yeah,
I knew we were 80.
80. Big 8-0.
Yeah, it's like 15. Where'd that come from?
Yeah, 15. I know.
For Stormlight.
It's like
15 of this 15 of this season.
It's like we're over halfway done with this book now. Yeah, we are over halfway.
Ooh, what? Seriously?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, time flies. And when do we finish?
We end this book when the asteroid hits, right?
Yeah. Yes.
Which down. Yeah, we went down to like 0.0001.
But it's going up a whole lot on the moon. So it might hit the moon.
On the what?
On the moon.
Oh, yeah, I heard that. Yeah. Which could be just as catastrophic.
Yeah, it could be just as catastrophic.
Hitting the moon is just as bad. So.
Yeah, there's an asteroid that might hit somewhere. But
it's a city killer. Like if it hit the Earth.
Planet killer. It's not a planet killer.
Right, it's a city killer. It's not an ELE, but yeah, that's still.
It's 2032. We have tons of time.
Yeah. Yeah, but again, I'd be concerned if it hits the moon.
Yeah.
Yeah, isn't it supposed to hit like 2037 or something?
2032.
2032.
So we got like 7 years to figure it out.
7 years. Everybody just YOLO. 7 years.
Mm-hmm. That's future people's problems, not our problems, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
That's 7 years problem. Just don't look up.
7 years problem. I like.
Don't look up.
Don't look up. Right.
Great comedy. Don't look up.
That was a good comedy. I did appreciate it. It won some awards and stuff.
It did.
Yeah. I like the
it's a point like 0.0001% chance of hitting. It's
yeah. So at one point in time, it was like it was 3 point something 1 point in time, but people didn't realize it's like you got to keep doing models and it's got to get closer and closer, and it'll go up and then it will go down. That's the way it works with anything in astronomy.
Yeah, and then Apophis for a while was going to hit us, but now it's a 0% chance. That's the bigger one. That one I think is a planet killer, but that one is not supposed to hit.
Well, that's the thing, though. We have much better screening now than we ever did. So this is going to happen more. So now we're going to hear about this more often than we did back years before, where it's like something would just like explode over Russia. And it was like, surprise!
Yeah, it was like, what happened?
Yeah.
The aliens will help out. Don't worry.
Yeah, they got
us. They will. Because they're altruistic. You know, there's nothing an alien likes better than like traveling like millions of light years, possibly billions of light years, than getting here and being like, we're here to help. Sure you are.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they're not going to let the Earth die because they want it, right?
Right. They want to enslave us all, of course. Yes, and they want to use our human meat.
Yeah. I mean, what's the difference? Aliens, humans. Which ones would you rather? Like,
I'm still convinced.
You're either enslaved by.
I'm convinced that platypi are actually aliens. They don't make sense. So platypi are aliens. They got here. They don't remember how to get home.
Yeah.
Because they make no sense.
Just really confused.
I don't know.
Yeah, I like those dash cam videos of the Russia explosion too. Those things I was addicted to those things because, of course, Russians are infamous for insurance scams. That's the reason why they have so many dash cams. So that's the reason why there was so much dash cam footage.
America's getting like that too.
Yes, which is the reason why I have dash cams. Every car I've ever owned over the last 10 years, I always have a dash cam in it because people are ruthless.
People out there that try to scam.
Oh, yes, they do.
Once again, who do you want in charge? Humans, aliens? Humans suck. We know that for sure. Aliens might be awesome.
I had the guy. I mean, I don't know if he was trying to or what was going on, but this is years ago. I was driving on the interstate to Richmond. So it was on 64, Interstate 64, and a car cut me off like out of nowhere and slammed on their brakes. And I slammed on my brakes. I did not hit them, but the cars behind me. There are cars rolling behind me, like this carnage behind me. I looked at my rearview mirror. I was like, ugh.
Yeah.
But he didn't get hit. Like we slammed on our brakes and I stopped in time. And I was like, what was that about? Like there was no one in front of him. Like I was like,
that's part of the scam. That's the scam. Yeah. That's exactly what that was.
That's unfortunate.
Because if you hit them, you automatically are at fault.
Mhm.
And their hope is that you don't have insurance or you have crappy insurance that you want to just try to pay out of pocket instead of going to, all that rigmarole. So, yeah.
Fun times.
No, it's not fun. That's not fun. No.
It's the sarcasm.
That's fun times. No, that's not fun times for you, Alan. If you'd have been in that situation, man, I'd be like, no.
I will say that the first accident I ever got in, I probably would have gotten out of it if it wasn't for Ian. Ian was in the car with me. And
Mr. Troublemaker himself. Okay.
Mr. Troublemaker himself. And it just started raining, and the car in front of me missed their turn, slammed on their brakes. And this is before anti-lock brakes. I wouldn't slam my brakes locked up. And I could have sworn I stopped before hitting the car in front of me. And then the car behind me hit me into them.
Yep.
But the car in front of me that I hit was like a brand new car with 30-day tags on it, brand new off the dealership. And the guy was like, at first was really, really like, "Are you okay? That's fine." Then Ian just jumps out of the car and goes, 10 points. And then he got really upset.
I guess that's one option. I guess you could do that.
This guy. And I'm sitting there like shaking my head like,
oh, Ian.
I might have been able to talk my way out of this. Now,
I feel like at some point in time you need to write the book of Ianisms. All the Ian things.
Ian was in the car with me. That was your first mistake.
Right. And it was at this time I knew I had fucked up.
I knew I had fucked up.
100%.
Just the fact that he crossed the threshold of your car door and just automatically, it's like you knew you had fucked up.
Yeah. It's not going to be good. Fun times.
That's fun times.
Yeah.
Ian in the car is fun times. Getting in the accident, not so much, but Ian in the car.
We survived. It was fine. Nobody got hurt. Nobody got hurt.
Did you die though?
But did you die?
Did you die though? That's right. I remember you used to say that all the time. But did you die?
Yeah. No one got hurt. Everyone was fine. Little banged up, but I ended up still getting that car fixed and still driving it, and then totaling it again. I totaled the car twice.
Oh wow!
I actually totaled
what year was this car? If you said it didn't have anti-lock brakes, I mean that was pretty common starting in like at least the early 90s. They started putting ABS
this
and everything.
Would have been it would have been an early 90s model car. It was a Volvo station.
Okay, so it must have been right there at the threshold.
Yeah, it was a Volvo station wagon, like one of those old Volvo station wagons.
A Volvo?
Mm-hmm.
A Volvo without ABS. I am shocked by this. Because Volvos are known for one thing. They're boxes of safety.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Volvo station wagon. Because it was my mom's car, and when I turned 16, she gave me her old car. Okay. So it was like the mom station wagon. And it was like my first car because like my parents were like, "I'm not buying you a car because you're just gonna wreck it. So here's mom's old car." I'm like, okay, it's a car.
It works.
So, yeah. But it was old. Wow. Yeah. And people still wonder why Alan sends red rods to Ian's mom. Payback. Yeah.
Like, how dare you? How dare you? Tree, what was your first car?
It was a Saturn.
No kidding.
Yeah,
the defunct Saturn. Yes.
I loved it. It was my grandma's car at first, and then she sold it to one of her friends, and then I bought it back from her friend when he was done with it. So it was like 10 years old by the time I got it.
Okay.
Gotcha.
But I love that thing.
No kidding. Which Saturn is it? Do you remember?
I can't remember the year.
Alonda rocked a 64 Chevelle.
Okay, so
right?
I had it in like...
My oldest car was a 1978 Chevy Caprice Classic, but no, I've never had it.
I had it probably in like 2015, 2014, 2015. It was already 10 years old at that point, so...
Oh, gotcha.
Like a 2004?
Yeah, some of the Saturns were cool. That Saturn Sky was amazing. That little roadster, looked basically like it was a variation of the Pontiac Solstice. It was a two-seater, like little car. That thing was beautiful, a little underpowered, but Saturn put out some bangers there for like a minute. Yeah.
What was your first car? Was it the Capri?
Regular sedan, not two-seater.
No, my first car was actually a Toyota Tercel.
Okay.
Which I tried to rice out by the way, this happened the other day, by the way, because I sometimes use like terminology from the
90s.
The car modding community back before Fast and Furious was a thing. So when you would have a Japanese car, you would like fix it up to do all the stuff. We call it ricing it out.
Right. I remember that. It's 90s. That's what they called it. Yeah.
Yeah. It was like, so I had a Toyota Tercel and I tried to rice it out and then had to let it go and then got some other cars. And then I got a Civic EX. Nice. And that thing I completely riced out. And then Fast and Furious came out. And then everybody loved my car because they didn't understand the stuff we would do to our cars. And then they saw Fast and Furious. They were like, that's what you do to your car? I was like, yes, that's what I do to my car. I beat Corvettes.
You need the NOS.
Oh, no, except for that. We never did that. You put NOS in your car, the immediate moment you put NOS in your car, you were waiting for your engine to explode. Because your engine is not made for that.
We had a guy in high school that had a Geo Metro, and we would get all the guys around, and we would move it all the time. Like we would literally, she could pick it up. Like it was such a small
we used to do that with everybody that we knew that had a Geo Metro or a Yugo. Remember the Yugo back in the day?
Yeah, you could get a bunch of guys around dudes. Yeah, you could pick the whole car up.
3 dudes. We'd pick that thing up. We would turn it in the parking lot so that way they couldn't get out because
we'd take it to a different parking lot. He'd come out looking for his car.
Yes, that was the funny thing about those little cars. See, this is the kind of stuff that boys with testosterone and no braids do. We just
go lift cars,
pick up cars, and we never did anything like I've heard some people do like really crappy things like roll their car over, and I'm like, that's a shame.
We didn't break anything. We just
damaged the car. Just pick it up and put it in like a weird space or something. But yeah, that was fun.
Turn it so it's parked like it looks like you're the asshole parking all bad inside a parking. Yeah, let's do stuff like that.
Supposedly, and I've got to go look this story up, but supposedly I hear that was a common thing to take somebody's Yugo and somehow or another get it into a gymnasium. That was like a thing for a while. It's just like somehow or another find an opening big enough to get a Yugo just on the middle of the gymnasium floor.
Yeah. Wow. See, we never got that creative for like our senior prank and that kind of stuff in high school. I guess we did kind of. We did what we did is for our senior class fundraiser in high school is we did a car wash, which I know is like really cliche, but to make things a little more spicy is we went out during one of the breaks and bought like jumbo size, like Costco size bags of birdseed and just filled up the teacher parking lot with birdseed.
Oh no.
And then had our car wash afterwards. So the teachers literally couldn't see out of their windshields without getting their car washed. So we raised a lot of money.
Yeah, but
you should have thrown some like blueberries and raspberries in
there. Yeah, but we had to clean it still. Like that's the downside. We still had to clean it, like because we were doing the car wash.
That's the problem. So, you still had to clean it.
We still had to clean it, but we're spraying off the hose. We were getting like it's not like it's because it's all fresh.
No, it depends on the bird. It depends on the bird and the poop, man. Because some of that poop, I still have a spot. There's a spot on the front of my SUV. Yeah. And it's destroyed because I left some bird poop on there just a little too long. And it ate the paint away.
Oh, wow.
It's a good way to raise money, though, man.
The bird's been eaten. You can tell the bird's
guaranteed clientele that was going to stop by and pay us.
Yeah. And you get the birds. If you get the bird that's like eating behind the wrong restaurant, eating the wrong discards, come out there with some funky like shades of paint degradation and stuff because of bird, man.
So kids, if you ever want to learn how to raise money as a high schooler and guarantee that people are actually going to pay for your car wash, that's how you do it. You rig the game.
Right. Like it's like selling Girl Scout cookies outside of a Pilates studio.
Yeah.
Boom. There you go.
Boom. Yeah.
They go in, they work out, they come out, you're like, hey, Girl Scout cookies.
I deserve those. I worked hard for these Girl Guide cookies.
See? Lady, there it is. There it is. She knows the deal.
You always need a little sweet treat after a good workout.
Yeah, I don't understand why they try to sell them outside of like Food Line. I'm like, they're already going in and buying food. No, don't do that.
And the cheaper cookies are in the grocery store, right?
Thank you. So I'm like, if you're going to sell cookies, what you need to do is be outside of if you can get outside of a Weight Watchers. So they'll be like, hey, I've been good this month.
Yeah. Plus, Weight Watchers accounts for cookies. You just have to mark it down and be like, oh, I got this many points.
Exactly.
I got wiggle room. It's fine.
Aren't cookies like $6 a box now or something? Some insane number now?
Something like that.
You guys have way cooler and a more variety of Girl Guide cookies than we do. Just so you know.
Oh, really?
We only have 2. We have spring cookies and fall cookies. And the spring cookies are like the chocolate and vanilla ones, the sandwich cookies, and the fall ones are the mint dipped in chocolate ones.
Now, those are like the most popular ones, I believe. Is the mint,
I love those.
the thin mints, I think is what they're called.
Yeah, they have
or something like
cookie,
that.
And then the top has like a little bit of mint, and then they're all the entire thing's dipped in chocolate.
Okay, now ours don't do that. It's just basically like it's like a mint wafer, and it's like covered, dipped in chocolate. My favorite one's the tagalongs, which is like that.
Yeah,
and they're dipped. It's peanut butter dipped in chocolate.
Yeah.
And back in the day, it used to be like
American
25
ones.
of them in a box. Now it's like only like 15 in a box.
Yeah. Now they're talking about Jeeps inside chat.
Shrinkflation.
Ian had a like a Jeep Wrangler that he souped up and put a lift kit on, giant wheels.
That's what you do with a Jeep. You have to.
Yeah,
it's like if
he did that.
You're not a real Jeep person if you don't modify your Jeep.
And then we ran over a shark with it, which was interesting.
Wait, how do you run over
land
a
sharks are out there for
how do you run over a shark?
Their license to their
So
own
we were
hands,
on the beach. We were driving on the beach. This
like
is a
a
true
dead
story.
shark?
So, yeah, it was a dead shark. We didn't know what it was. So like we
Oh.
were driving on the beach and we thought we were like there's washed up. It was winter time, so there's a lot of stuff that washed up. It was in Corolla, Outer Banks. And like if there was like a log or something like that had like sand, we'd kind of like use it as a ramp and like see the big tires. We'd kind of like get a little bit of air and like we're jumping because we were dumb and stupid in college. And we thought it was like this really big log and we were to go jumping. Like right before the last second, we realized it was a giant shark that had washed up dead on the beach, and we just ran right over the thing. Like,
so did it explode because it's got like all the gas?
It didn't. It was a basking shark, so it was like 27, 28 feet long. It was
Damn.
Space. So
it was a big guy,
big boy, 27 feet. That's a big shark.
We have posted pictures of us running over the shark on.
Oh no, I don't want to.
There are pictures of that.
Hey guys, look what we did today.
College. College. I don't know.
Because picture or it didn't happen. You know the phrase. Come on.
I would try to ignore that happened if it was me.
You would try to ignore it.
The next day we went back on the beach and a humpback whale had washed up. We did not run that over.
Yeah, that's good.
But VIM's Virginia Institute of Marine Science was down there dissecting it and doing which smelled horrible because the scientists all come in and then they do an autopsy on the beach pretty much to like determine death and do all the samples and take all the different things. So they're cut into pieces and we talked to one of the scientists and they explained like how they use everything and how like the baleen will go to museums for like that kind of stuff and then they'll take samples for different parts like the brain fluid and just to see diseases and they come out there and do tons of studies when something washes up.
Yeah.
But I remember Ian being Ian. We walk up there and he says, he gives us whole spiels like, "Do you have any questions?" And Ian like raises his hand and goes, "Do you think we can run it over with my Jeep?"
Oh my god, Ian. Well, speaking of cutting things open, shall we get into this first chapter?
Sure. Yeah. Let's go ahead and talk about
this is a book podcast. I forgot about that.
Yeah, we should talk about.
We are a book podcast, though, right?
We are.
We still do that, don't we?
Sometimes.
We still do that.
Thanks for the segue. That was great. Yeah, let's talk about some Stormlight, chapter 38, Invisiger.
We keep saying Stormlight, and I keep thinking about the fact I can never remember the name of this book, and it's The Way of Kings, right? And that's all I can think of. Every so often, somebody asks me about the podcast. I'm like, "Yeah, I'm reading the Stormlight series," and they're like, "Which book are you on?" I was like,
"The first one."
Forget it. I don't know why. It's like I just forget the name of the book. So
it's all.
I mean, I get the same way with Mistborn though too. I'm just being honest. I mean, just sometimes it's like I'm like, "Yeah, I'm reading Mistborn." They're like, "Which book are you reading?" I'm like, the one with the thing, the people, and they do the thing, and they jump and just
and they have the metal stuff.
Yeah, they got medals and they throw things like coins, and coin shots, and Anyway.
Yep.
All right. Sorry.
So,
that was my last deviation. Let's go ahead.
Sure. Born from darkness, they bear its taint still, marked upon their bodies.
Oh, you did the same thing at the same time, Tree.
We're virtual fist bump.
Me and Tree. Boom. Thank you, Tree. And right on cue, sir. Right on cue. Alan, right there with us.
Marked upon their bodies, much as fire marks their souls. That's how the epigraph starts. All right, so we're in Kaladin's point of view. Kaladin is awake in Bridgefour's barrack. He's suffering from a fever from the wounds and has kind of been in and out since he's been strung up from the high storm. He's just kind of, most of the time he's unconscious, but he's kind of in and out of consciousness. And occasionally when he does have these lucid moments, he sees Deathspren and sees Phil trying to like fight them off, which is kind of a cool image. Like seeing Syl like with a little sword, like fighting off the Deathspren. Kind of cool. At least I think.
I don't get that concept though. It lost me here because I was like, so now we're saying that there is something that can defeat a Spren, because up until now it's been basically like, oh, use such and such chemical or use this thing to deter them from wanting to be around.
Mm-hmm.
And now it's
Spren
you can attack them physically.
Maybe only Spren can hurt Spren.
Again, the Spren universe is something I'm just
Spreniverse.
Yes, I am.
Sprint them on, gotta catch them all.
I know. I am so perplexed by Spren and whatever these little Tinkerbells are doing because I gotta just know all the details, and I'm not quite there yet. I feel like I could write a book of all the things I don't understand about Spren, and it would be like 1,000 pages.
Yeah. Probably.
It's just like a million questions. I got a million questions, and every time something comes up in these books, these chapters, I'm like, wait, there's one more thing I don't understand. Can they cook? I don't know. What can they do? What can't they do? Do they eat?
Eventually you'll understand more about Spren.
I mean, there's Deathspren. I mean, are they feeding off death? I mean, again, it's like I have so many questions. Yeah. And then, of course, you find out later there's Starspren. And I'm like, okay, here we go.
Starspren.
Here we go.
That's a hard one to catch. So
no, of course it is.
Yeah, Kaladin, he just wants to relax and die at this point. He's kind of just, wants to succumb to his wounds, but he fights to survive because he doesn't want to fail Bridge 4. He's staying.
Because he told them he would not.
Yeah, he told him he wouldn't, and he's a man of his word.
He was like the Mr. Prophecy. He was like, "I'll be back."
Yeah, but he does notice more and more Deathspren each time. So he's like, "I think death's coming for me." Pretty much. Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe she's
going
just
over all of his
maybe she's just an ass-kicking Spren sent to take other Spren down.
Yeah.
Oh,
she's ass-kicking Spren.
Yet another Spren. The ass-kick Spren. Mm-hmm. Okay.
A side story about Spren, a Spren off. Nice, Iris.
I'm a fan of this. I need to write this. That's the fan. That's the fan fiction I'm going to write. Is just the book of Spren.
Spren off.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess this whole first section is just Deathspren coming for him. And Syl's there trying to fight it off, but Kaladin's wavering back and forth, because every time he comes, back to, he just sees more and more closer to death. I mean, there's more Deathspren, usually a sign that death's coming. So things aren't looking too good for Kaladin here.
No. He was going over all of his injuries in his head, and he's like, this is what you do for this injury. This is what you do for that injury. But he's not actually telling this to anybody because he's unconscious, right?
By the way, why are we just glossing over this, sword that Syl's
little sword?
Why are we just glossing over that? Like, oh, that's just a thing.
I don't know, Londo, you want to talk about that? You can talk about that if you want to.
No, where does this sword come from? We haven't heard anything about the sword. I don't remember anything about a sword any other time. And all of a sudden, it's like just casually, like, well, she's got her sword. And I'm like,
got a sword.
I'm looking for a sword right now.
That's one of those little cocktail olive swords.
Nice. But those things are so cute. I love those things in a good martini. But I have no use for those things otherwise. So
no, of course not.
I can't justify buying a box of them, but I think they're the most adorable things ever. I love those little swords. Just like I just want to give them to like a bunch of Lego men or something, and just see them like posed in battle with like these little cocktail weenie swords. There you go.
There's a little sword.
I was wondering what you were doing.
What?
I was wondering what you were doing.
Well, so I'm recording right now in our temporary. This is going to be part of the renovation space. So we have a table set up for my son to do all of his Minecraft Legos. So I have a whole table of Legos in front of me. So there's lots of swords and axes and Minecraft type stuff. So I was like, there has to be a sword here somewhere.
Of course.
So I found
now, that's a Minecraft sword. That's what the sword looks like in Minecraft. Oh, okay. Yeah. Now I can. Mm-hmm. I don't know much about Minecraft, but the moment you held it up close, I could see like the pixelation of it.
Pixelation of it. Yeah. It's a Minecraft sword. Yeah. All it's Minecraft.
You stole the sword from
the Minecraft movie with Jack Black. That thing looks ridiculous. I need to get so
this cool little
high
Minecraft
and watch that.
This little
get high and watch what?
The Minecraft movie.
It hasn't come out yet, though, has it?
Yeah,
no,
April.
I just watched the trailer the other day.
Oh yeah, which is the weirdest thing ever. And then it's going to star Jack Black, I think.
Mm-hmm. Jack Black and Jason Momoa.
I still don't understand. I thought Minecraft was a thing where it's just like you just built a universe or a world around you.
Now there's
and then people.
I've never played. So I have no idea.
One of the things that I watch is this series called Games Done Quick, and they specifically support the charity Doctors Without Borders, or what do you call it, Medicine Sans Frontiers. And so one time, one of the speedrunners was speedrunning Minecraft, and I was like, wait a minute, there's an actual ending to this game?
There's an end game, yeah.
So there's like a big boss or something you have to fight?
The Ender Dragon, yeah.
What? Okay, so I didn't realize this. I just thought it was like a free space to build stuff. I didn't realize it's actually a game you can play.
It can be, or you can play and actually try to get to the end game content.
To get to the end. Okay. Did not know this. And by the way, Microsoft, that's like one of their smartest purchases. They bought Minecraft, and that thing makes
optional
bank.
Yeah, it's easy. Okay. It's easy to get to. Yeah.
Which is like a lot of open world games. Like I'm playing Far Cry 6 right now. Love this game. And I have so much fun just doing all the other side quests and stuff. Yeah. I'm sure there's probably a direct path I could take and probably just like speed run and get there. So I guess Minecraft is probably the same way.
Yeah, you can mine down to certain levels and get the Ender Stones and then build the Ender Portal and get there really fast. It's not.
No, okay.
Yeah, but yeah. So the speed run thing, you can do it pretty fast. But
yeah. Well, I didn't know that until I saw it on Games Done Quick, and I was like, oh.
Iris said she played for 5 years before going to the end.
Wow.
It's funny. I've played for years and years, but I always used it as like virtual Legos and built a whole world for my son. And so when he got old enough to start playing Minecraft, he plays in the world that I built for him.
That's cool.
And the first thing he did was go in creative mode and build an Ender Portal and went to the end game stuff that I had never been to. And I'm like, and he started asking me questions like, dude, I've never done this. I don't know how
I can't help you. Right.
I can't help you. Like, I never done it. I don't even know what you're doing. Like, that's not what I did when I played. I never played the actual game, so I don't.
Right.
Sure.
Gotcha. Good deal.
All
right. So,
anyways, that's Kaladin.
Again, the sword. I got off topic, but I just the sword thing.
Pretty much counting.
Can't do 5
Stormlight 1.
Listen,
that's
technically
back of the tangents. Wait, make sure you have another one in there for food because you know it's going to happen. We're going to talk about food.
Not yet.
It's coming. Later.
Food comes later. Stew comes later.
It comes later.
Yes, it always around 10 o'clock. We start hitting food.
Yes. Yeah, we're not quite there yet. So then we switch to Tef. Scar's watching over Kaladin, and Tef comes up. They keep him guarded at all times, just so to keep away prying eyes and possible assassination attempts. Because they're still worried about Gaz and the Light Eyes trying to end him, so he doesn't, become a martyr. Not necessarily a martyr, but someone that the bridges can rally up behind. They're worried about him.
Right.
And Tef comes over, and we get a little hint of something about Tef's backstory. Just a hint. That there are these people, he was a child of envisagers, which are people who believe in something, and he wants to test the theory. So he takes some diamond spheres and puts them in Kaladin's hand and just waits. And he's like, and then he thinks like, well, I wasn't right. Oh, well. And then Kaladin gasps and breathes in stormlight and starts to glow everywhere. And Tef's like, why now? Why after all this time now is this happening? And his wounds start to knit up themselves.
Yeah, you see the light actually moving kind of across the wounds and
it starts to knit up the wounds. Yeah.
Yeah, pretty amazing stuff.
Yeah. So, it's
great that we're getting the other perspective because we kind of saw this from Kaladin's perspective.
He didn't know what was going on. Tef
seems to know doesn't know what's going on because he's like so out of it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So now we're getting it on the other side, which is that perspective helps a whole lot for us to understand what the heck is going on. The witch burner
after the heist war. He saw that.
I have that somewhere. Here it is.
There it is. Gotta do it. Gotta do it.
Burn the witch.
He doesn't float though. No. Fair crop. A
fair crop. That's the best throwaway line in that whole movie.
Just
I love the fact that she just like dead faces. She's like, that's a fair crop.
Fair crop.
I don't know who wrote this movie and said that was a line that needed to stay in, but kudos to that person.
Anyway, I used to have that whole memorized.
Everybody at some point in time had that movie memorized. Anybody that's watched that movie 1,000 times, yeah. Oh, we used to watch it together.
In middle school, we printed out the entire script and read through it and
Yep.
On a dot matrix printer.
At some point in time, and back in the day before the internet, I mean, it was like the coolest thing if you actually had that thing printed out.
I got that wrong. It's a fair cop, not a fair crop.
I always thought it was a fair crop. What? I always thought it was a fair crop. So, Alan, you and I are the same. I thought it was a fair crop, too. I thought it was like, oh, this is a fair crop of people.
I don't know.
You can tell I don't know anything about English idioms. So
it is a fair cop. I just looked it up. Yeah,
I'm sure it is. I mean, I trust, that's probably what it is. But I always thought it was a fair crop too. Because remember, she says that under her breath, and they're still yelling in the background, and she's in the cage, and she says, "Oh, it's a fair crop." And so, I mean, I just always thought it was a fair crop.
So a fair cop is essentially a good-natured thief, which is typically a British sense of fair play.
Fair cop. So is cop like you cop something? Like you cop like, oh man. Okay.
So it's a saying you say when you're fingered by the fuzz by the police, meaning that your arrest was reasonable. That's what it means. That's what the phrase means.
Gotcha.
It's a fair cop. So yeah, it makes sense. Cop now. Yeah, it's a fair cop.
Interesting.
Now that you say that.
Now you say it that way. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
My arrest was
love
reasonable.
it. I love the fact that every podcast, and I've said this before, every podcast I like to learn one thing, and I feel like every podcast it happens. In this podcast, I learned the proper terminology for that idiom because there's a bunch of American idioms that people say all the time.
Just
put all those in
any
chat,
listeners, because I'm sure Londo and I aren't the only ones that got it wrong. So now you know.
And for all of you out there, that is called an eggcorn, I believe, is when you get something wrong like that.
Mm-hmm.
Not an acorn, an eggcorn. Yeah, when you get something wrong, that's like you think it sounds like this, and you mix up the word.
This is just the epitome of this podcast at this point.
Epitome.
You dug deep in the annals of our historical podcast and brought it back into the present. Because he knows how much that annoyed me. This person saying epitome.
Epitome.
Thank you for that, Alan. I needed that.
Yeah. I still use a dot matrix printer at work. What? Where do you work?
Wait, what?
Are you from the past?
Yeah. Are you a time traveler?
How?
God, Alan, you can't just ask people if they're a time traveler.
I know.
Exactly. Yeah.
It's definitely
just asking if somebody's a time traveler automatically makes you part of the paradoxical, mania that will occur afterwards.
The dot matrix printer.
Dot matrix printers.
I don't even know what that is because it's probably older than me.
They had the little perforated little dots on the side,
holes,
and like the printer would go
and they were perforated, so you could tear them off.
You could tear them off.
And it like keeps the paper just keeps feeding through. It's like a roll.
Yeah, and so
I kind of know.
Come up like,
and there's no reel. Yeah. And so the paper's connected top to bottom, this, basically lattice style. And
you could have a whole entire stack, and it'll just kind of feed in,
okay, because I've seen the paper that is like perforated. I just assumed it was a roll because I really don't know what this is. But
a lot of it would be white, but sometimes it would be this alternating green and light green color.
Yeah,
it's like the light green in Alan's room he's in right now. Essentially, that's like the color that some of them would be. I'm saying
okay, boomers.
I will take it.
We had this whole discussion before we got on here, by the way, about what color Alan's room is.
That's right,
it was mint, and he's like, it's actually blue.
Yes.
And I'm like,
It is blue.
I like the fact that
blue. We looked up the color code.
Yeah,
Boomer has now extended beyond the baby boomer generation. Now I'm Gen X, people,
and I'm a millennial. So
you're millennial. I'm Gen X. Free. What generation are you considered? I don't even know. Huh?
I think I'm a millennial.
Yeah, she's so.
You're millennial. I don't think you are.
I'm considered a X and
No. You could
be the in between. I'm the in between generation between X and millennial.
Aren't millennials like 1989 to 2000?
I think they actually go all up to 1983 or 4.
Oh,
I mean that's yeah. So you're like 84 through like 90 or something like that. So
I'm 83. So
I can look it up unless I don't know if someone wants to.
My wife is 83.
I'm right on that cusp where it's kind of like. Gen X, somewhere in between.
Yeah.
Generation am I?
Somewhere in between. Anyway,
millennials born from 1980 to 1994. So yes, I am a millennial.
It goes back to 80. That's insane that it goes back that far. Okay.
1980.
Because I thought for sure it's like later than that. And then my wife told me that she's a millennial, and I was like, 83 is a millennial? And she's like, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Wait, she's 82.
I thought millennials started in like the 2000s. Like, I have no idea. I barely pay attention to generation stuff.
It depends on like when you came into like age where you were like kind of think about middle school kind of age. That's like, the reference for that genre, that generation. So for me, like middle school age was like mid 80s, and they called us Gen X for whatever reason. Yeah. I guess because they knew that when we got into adulthood, we were going to be at the turn of the century or something. Yeah. I don't get the whole Gen X thing. It's so
just in case anybody's keeping score.
Hey, there it is.
Somebody mentioned in chat earlier that we did already talk about cookies, so we're ahead of schedule.
Oh, we did technically already talk about food, didn't we? Nice.
Yeah. And also, by the way, guys, this chapter is only like 14 minutes. This first chapter.
We spend more time talking than the chapter. We
spend more time talking about
food. 10 o'clock.
I'm sorry, guys.
All right.
Let's get serious.
So before we finish this chapter, because this is pretty much all, we already talked about everything that happens. What are your thoughts about all this? What do you think about Tef's little backstory?
Question.
Yeah, go for it.
Question. Okay, what is the name again of the chapter?
Invisagers. So those are the people that raised Tef.
Yeah, which is referring to Tef's his people are invisagers.
Yeah,
and that was the only reference. And I was like, and apparently, and we learned no more
something to them.
Yeah, but they apparently know what this Stormlight thing is happening. So, like, is it some sort of like religious branch that he was raised up in?
A cult.
Like instead of Ardents, it's Invisagers.
I know nothing.
Well, that's kind of what my thought was, but other than that, I just have a question, no real comment.
I did the same thing though, Tree, because I was like, every time these weird phrases come up, I'm like, okay, what does that mean? What was the one last time? Oh, anyway, it doesn't make a difference. But whatever it was, I was like, okay, when's that phrase come up? When does that word get used?
Yeah.
And so then I try to like kind of hone in on it, and then when it comes up, sometimes it's like it gets explained, and other times not so much.
Last week was cymatics, but that was a Shallan chapter.
Cymatics, and we had arrogance.
And arrogance.
Yeah, arrogance is the one that I was thinking of. Thank you, Tree. So, yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah. Well, that's it. I just was wondering about your thoughts on the Invisitors.
Yeah.
Invisitors.
My question was more what your thoughts on the healing aspect and everything like that was like
why he's able to heal in a way that
what do you I mean, just do you have theories or any kind of about what
I didn't have any theories on this as much as
just
for some reason he has that capability, but I just don't understand why.
Okay.
Nothing about his family right now.
Tef is shocked.
Oh yeah,
and he's just like kind of like in awe.
Yep.
Yeah. All right, you ready for 39? Burned into her.
Let's do it.
Burned into her.
Yeah, within a heartbeat. I'm gonna butcher this name. Elzarv was there, crossing a distance that would have taken more than 4 months to travel by foot. So cross a distance that would have taken 4 months to travel by foot in a heartbeat. Yeah, that's all it says.
That's cool. I wish we could do that in real life.
Yeah, and we're with Shallan. She's in her sitting room. Drawing the death of the 4 robbers from 3 nights ago. And just kind of working on different things for Yasna, thinking about different concepts of logic.
I had so much anxiety listening to this chapter.
Me too.
I'll be honest, I had like a lot of anxiety because I was like, it ended like she did the Indiana Jones swap. Swap. And then I'm like waiting for like this chapter to start with her like traveling home or getting caught. Nope. It's just she's just trying to figure out, does she know? Does she not know? I can't travel right now because it's going to be too obvious. So I just disappear and she's going to come bring the hammer down. And I'm like, this is the most anxiety inducing chapter. And I was like, I was on edge the whole time. I mean, even though nothing happens in this chapter, this chapter had me on edge.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. And as she's sketching, she's worried about her actions as Sealing Skullcaster. She's shocked to see a completely different scene being sketched. One richly dressed man lying in a pool of blood. So she starts to do this whole thing where she kind of phases out and draws something else, which is really weird.
So this is the second time this has happened now, because the last time she did that when she drew the king and he had those 2 like
creature things
characters behind him.
Yeah, she kind of lets her mind wander elsewhere and then just like lets her hand.
But she lets her mind wander all the time when she's drawing. So she's like, because it seems like it's more like not a motor response. What do they call that when you just kind of go into like a
trance state?
Trance state.
Thank you. Yeah, trance state. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a trance state, and she's just like, whatever, and she's just letting the hand just kind of just go.
Yeah.
And it just
muscle memory.
No, trance state is exactly what I was thinking of.
Okay,
yeah, because it's like she's not in the moment. Yeah. She's just letting her hand just kind of just flow.
Which I think that is actually a pretty common thing for artists, like especially when you're doing like a really long work session. But obviously, nothing. I know for a
fact when I used to play music, I mean, because I would do it so often, I'd be on a stage and I'd just be like, I'm just playing this thing. I'm like, and it's like I get done and they're like, oh man, what'd you just play there? And I was like, I had no idea. I just played the thing because I do this 1,000 times,
Yeah. I do it too, just to like, I'll just draw something mindless. I don't really have to think about. Like, I'll come up with a plan and then I'll just kind of draw, just so I can kind of process thoughts. Right? It's literally like I am intentionally doing a meditative art thing now, just so I can do something with my hand and let my brain go.
Right.
Or when you're really tired and you're driving home and you blink and you're in the driveway and you're home.
Oh yeah,
no regulation.
when I used to,
at the American border.
when I worked in downtown Norfolk and I did that drive every day, there are so many times I freaked myself out because it's like I felt like I was like in the car, got in, started driving, blink, I'm home. I was like, I just traveled an hour and don't remember any of it. How does that happen?
Because I'm exhausted.
Is that dangerous? Did I fall asleep or did I don't know.
It's an autopilot. Yeah, so let's see. She panics and she sees the span read. Hold on 1 second.
Oh.
Bye, Alan.
This guy. So he was talking about the spam read thing. So she's communicating back with her brother, who she wasn't able to communicate with before. And again, I'm just like on edge the whole time because I'm like, does Yasna know? And she's going to like just try to catch her, like communicate? Because I'm like, how safe is this communication methodology? I mean, we've heard about it. I mean, do they have encryption point to point? Like if we had like a VPN sponsor, this is when we would bring that in and be like, this is our sponsor, NordVPN, who makes sure that if you use 2 span reads, you don't have to worry about, somebody intercepting your communication in between. Yeah, but I was like, again, on edge the whole time. Yeah. And she's like sitting there thinking to herself, she's like, did I get away with it? Did I not get away with it? And she's like,
Yeah. It's not like she was being sneaky with her writing either, right? Like she laid it all out there. Like sure, they had like an initial code word.
Yeah, they had an initial code word just to make sure the person on the receiving end is the person you expect. But it's not that crafty and clever, in my opinion.
They trust it though, so that makes me trust it, I guess. I hadn't really thought about an interception on that kind of message, but it's possible.
So the interception piece is something, again, I'm an IT guy, so that's all I think about is interception of communication, So I'm like,
it's possible.
Yeah. Well. So anyway, that whole thing kind of got me messed up. And then the other thing I'm thinking about is she's staying there until it comes out that the Soulcaster has been replaced. And the two things I was thinking to myself is, number one, so she hasn't used this thing in 4 days. This is 4 days later, right?
Something like that.
Yeah. 4 days. So she hasn't used this thing in 4 days. I'm like, okay, so she's not using it that often, I guess. And then the other thing I was thinking about, is there a possibility that she just, every so often these things break and she just has the ability to repair them? That's literally what I thought. I was like, is that possible? Because maybe they can't repair theirs because they don't have the skill set. But Yasna's on a different level, right?
Yeah.
I don't know. So,
yeah.
Because remember when she used it, when she killed those assailants, remember some of those gems that were around
they broke.
Right. So that must be a common thing that these things break. And then you either replace the gem or do something to repair the gem.
Yeah.
So anyway, I'm kind of wondering, is there a possibility that she just repaired it and she's like, hey, Soulcasters break, this happens. Boop, 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 and then it works again.
Maybe. Or I was kind of thinking like she hadn't used it in 4 days or however many days it's been. Like maybe she's like, oh shit, I broke this, but I don't want anybody to know that it's broken and I don't know what to do about it. So I'm just going to not use it.
Especially killing some guys.
Yeah.
That's a good comment, Zool. You'll learn someday how span reads actually work.
Oh, that's how you spell read. Okay, I would have just expected it to be like read, like READ.
No, read like
so again, musician here, all I think of is reeds, REED, like a reed that you put on a musical device.
This is what's fun part about being
that are
audiobook
actually
people.
grown.
Yeah. But yeah.
So okay.
Yeah.
I'm sure we'll learn about everything because Brandon really likes to explain everything super in depth.
Nope. I refute that statement all day long. I have a feeling Sprint are never going to be explained. I have a feeling we're going to be like 7 books in, and he's going to be like, so Sprint, now they own remote controls. And it's like, wait, why? What did they control? Wait, they're remote control. Wait. At the bottom of every sword is a remote control, and they hit the button, and it actually changes the world. I don't know if you knew this, but
that's how it works. Yep.
So Sprint's actually created Blockbuster Video.
You nailed
I don't know
it.
if you knew this. This is the stuff that Sprint can do.
They can. And they also took it out. That's why it doesn't exist anymore. Except for one. Apparently there's one.
Exactly. Left. It's because they were made by the Shiza Sprint. Shiza Sprint.
So what do you think about Shallan's plan? Good, bad, clever.
What's your plan again? Oh, hang out for a bit and
hang out for a bit and then try to...
Or not the span read, the soul cast.
Her logic...
Yeah.
I would do the mean thing with her logic. Be like, I like that, but I still see some flaws.
Yeah.
But the whole going into the maze thing to test it, it's like, why didn't she ask her brother via the span read to like could you just find out generally how I can confirm this thing works? Give me like just some basic stuff, like give me the Harry Potter Aloha Mora, something to be like, yep, this wand works. Give me something that says this soulcaster works, right? I mean, but she's like sitting here like, all I can think of is that scene in the first Harry Potter movie where it's like, he's like sitting there, Rupert Grint's, what was shoot, I forgot his name. I forgot his character's name. And he's sitting there, he says like some like weak little chant or whatever. Turn this hairy fat rat yellow. He's like recites a poem and he just like does nothing. And I'm like, that's how rudimentary a kid is. And I don't feel like she's smarter than that. So she should have come in prepared with something to be able to confirm how she knows this thing works properly.
Yeah. I don't think any of Shallan's plan has been very good so far, even from the very beginning. Like, this is not a good plan. Now she's just flying by the seat of her pants. I mean, she's been flying by the seat of her pants this whole time, pretty much.
Yeah.
Yep. I mean, but desperation calls for desperate action.
Yep.
So.
And she also gets some bread and some jam.
Yeah.
So here comes
the more Zodiac jam from her lover.
Her priest boyfriend.
Yeah. Yep. Her not so secret admirer.
So
about this drawing though, what do you think she was drawing? Do you think it was like?
You talking about the one with the king? I'm sorry.
Oh,
I assumed it was the king. I assumed it was the king.
So you assumed it was like from the past.
No, I'm assuming that it's what's his Terra? What's his name?
Teravangian.
So you think it's from the
future? I was thinking Teravangian. Anyway, so I think it's him dead, and it's going to happen soon.
Okay,
and she has predicted something via drawing. That's my guess and theory.
Okay, interesting. A premonition.
We'll see how that works out. Oh, it's always theory time. Thank you, Alan.
Theory time.
Always theory time. Yes.
Yeah. Now, speaking of drawing, a couple hours later, she's drawing snails because that's kind of cool.
Yeah, this symbiotic snail plant situation.
Snail and the shell bark and how they symbiotic relationship. And she takes the soulcaster out and starts trying to figure out how to use it, but no luck.
In this maze, which sounds like really short-sighted. Oh, and then there was the whole thing about her trying to hide it. It was in like a secret area of her chest. I think it was a chest.
Safe pouch, right? Was there a safe pouch?
Well, no, I'm talking about it was in a chest first, and then she moved it from the chest into the safe pouch on her safe hand, and she feels better about it being there on her person, which I get it. Because she's right. I mean,
if you're carrying out contraband, you always get that. If it's somewhere else, it's you're worried. I
don't know how that got there.
I don't know how that got there.
If it's on your person, then you're kind of cooked.
Yeah, true.
You are definitely cooked at that point in time.
So it made me think, like how big the soulcaster is, because in my mind it was like it fit in your palm, like the size of maybe like a tennis ball, but. It can't
I think it being a little smaller than that.
Her safe hand pouch, right?
Yeah.
But then I guess I don't know how big safe hand pouches are. I just assume they fit like in a mitten.
Let's see. What do I think it's about the size of? I think it's the size of a. If anybody's seen the magic mouse that Apple makes,
what soul casters look
I
like?
feel like it's that size.
We're trying to figure out how big it is because at first I thought it was like the size of like a tennis ball.
Do you want me to show you a picture of one? I
don't think a tennis ball would fit in like.
Of course, you've got a picture of one. Go ahead.
You want to show you a picture of one? It's gonna.
Yeah.
I think it's the size of like this mouse.
Okay.
Where it's a little flat.
Oh, flat. Interesting. I was thinking it was like round, like an orb shape. Oh, it just looks like a little.
But those are the gems that go with it. Which part is the actual gem, though?
There's no way that I would have thought that it looked like that.
So the gems that go along with it are the same size, but
the one someone made.
That's crazy. In my head, it was like an orb that had like a ring around it that had gems and like.
Yeah, exactly.
I have no idea how my brain went.
Yep, I'm with Tree.
To that. I'm
with Tree on it. Me and Tree are aligning on a lot of things today, and that's definitely one of them.
We both thought it was an orb. How did we both think it was?
I thought it was
like
bigger.
A ring bracelet?
Again, I thought it was like the size of this mouse, basically, but it was flat somehow or another, and they didn't take up too much space. And I thought the other gems that went along with it were smaller and kind of around it.
Yeah, that is crazy.
That is,
There's no way that I would have.
I mean, I looked it up, and that's multiple pictures saying the same thing. So
if it was that small, I'm like, you should have stole that thing a long time ago. I mean, come on, you could pocket it. And she's like, oh, I gotta try and find somewhere to hide it. You can stick up a butthole and be fine. Seriously. Get out of here. That thing's super tight. Get out of here. That's prison hiding size. Get out of here.
Wow. Cool.
Okay. I feel bad for being anxiety this whole episode. This is like, I'm listening to this chapter like all anxiety, like, oh my god, she's gotta hide this thing, and it's like got some size on it and stuff. And now you told me it's like basically the size. She could have ingested it. She literally could have just swallowed that joint, got on a horse, and be like,
it'll be fine.
Get out of here.
It'll come out like a few days later, no big deal.
Thank you.
Sure, no unfortunate like magical things will occur while it is in your body.
I mean, if she can't operate it in the freaking maze, it ain't gonna operate from her intestines. So I'm like, just ride home, swallow that joint, go home.
Brandon Sanderson's Mormon, no butt stuff here.
No butt stuff.
Sometimes it's necessary.
Hey. Sometimes in the land of Oz, I ain't talking about the book. I'm talking about the show, HBO show. Sometimes in the land of Oz, you got to do some things.
I still want that shirt for colonoscopy. Did I ever tell you that one? It says it's a picture of an alien spacecraft, and it says "Get in, loser. We're doing butt stuff."
Butt stuff, yeah.
There it is.
Yes. I have seen that shirt around.
I want to wear that shirt if I ever get when I go get a colonoscopy. It's just like "Get in, loser."
Oh, that reminds me. I'm probably gonna get one soon.
Yeah. Yay!
Because I'm hitting that 5-0. Gotta hit that 5-0. Gotta do that
drugs.
Colonoscopy. Yay! Put me out, please.
Yes.
Yay! Make sure I remember none of this. It's like that Matrix line. I don't remember nothing. Nothing. Joey Pants.
Yeah.
No, that's what he's known as. Everybody knows Joey Pantolino. You call him Joey Pants.
Joey Pants.
There's your random actor knowledge for the day.
Pretty much how we finish this chapter. So, guys, ready to move to chapter 40?
Well, I have one more question for Orlando.
Go for it.
What made you think that the picture was Taravangian? Did we not see the face of the person?
Because she didn't spend a lot of time on what she was looking at. She just did not like the fact that she drew something like that. And so now there's been two. So the first picture that she did that about was him.
Yeah. Okay.
And she got startled because of what she saw in the picture that she drew. So it makes sense to me that she's kind of doing this whole precog kind of thing.
Mm-hmm. And he's the starter of it, right? Because he did it with him.
And so I feel like it just makes too much sense. Because I was like, who else would it be? I mean, because it's not like she just draws like random people. She's drawing things from memory. But now it seems like she's kind of drawing things in a precognitive way. but it's about somebody she knows or somebody she's seen, etc. So that's the reason I think Taravangian is not long for this world.
It's very Taravangian.
He seems like a nice dude, which is the reason why.
He seems all right.
Right. I mean, which I think it's been said in this book that he's a nice guy, and that's the reason why he's not the strongest leader.
He's also not that bright. It's been said multiple times.
That's true. It was said that, because he's not exactly the wittiest out here. He ain't gonna hold a court of wit.
No,
he's gonna get taken down pretty quickly, I'm sure.
Yeah.
If he was in that battle of wits. Anyway, yeah.
So ready for chapter 40, Eyes of Red and Blue?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay. So Kaladin leaves the barracks for the first time since his judgment on the High Storm. He's pretty weak still, but his wounds are mostly gone. So this has been some while now. And, I guess Teft had been feeding him little bits of Storm-like. He said he was going to do it slowly so it didn't raise suspicion. But the members of Bridge 4 have been out doing their daily trainings, but they get really excited when they see him, nearly stumble over each other. Moesh tells them it's only been 10 days. And Rock tells Kaladin he must have bones like granite. Oh, you must have bones like granite, you Airsick lowlander.
We should call you Rock.
We should call you Rock. Yeah. When the horn blows for Bridge 4, they're on duty. And Kaladin joins them, helping Lopin and Dabba with the water. Later, he watches the battle.
Yeah, he was going to try and get under the bridge. Like, he was going to do something.
They were like, all right, let's go.
GTFO, dude. Come on. Get out of here with that. Yeah.
Nice try. About during the battle, like what he did with the side carry, and he begins to understand the purpose of bridgemen. Because now he's not running it, he's doing the water thing. He can sit back and look at the whole formations. And as a military man, he sees it now clear as day that they're just bait. That
they've always been cannon fodder. We've been saying this for like chapters on chapters. Yeah. We know that they're cannon fodder.
Right. Well, Sadia said it in the previous chapter, but they just hadn't realized it. I mean, we had a conversation.
I know, but it's just odd that he's in the situation and doesn't realize it. Yeah. I mean, there's a reason why they're not given shields. There's a reason why, the numbers of bridges they have, et cetera, et cetera. I mean,
it's always overkill.
It's basically you're trying to wear down your opponent with the deaths and kills that they have to inflict on your people before your skilled people come in. I mean, that's all chess is. It's like pawns, basically. I mean, pawns have one purpose. It's basically just move up the freaking board. The only time they can move left or right is if they attack. I mean, they have one purpose. It's to go and basically fade another piece out of position so that way you can attack that piece when they show their hand. You can obviously tell I love chess. And so I'm like, I feel like Kaladin should know this, and I don't know why he hasn't recognized that, especially considering his previous army experience. Yeah. That's the reason why I'm a little taken aback by him just having this realization now.
Yeah.
I don't get that.
Well, maybe you're not thinking too much when you're carrying a giant hunk of wood on your shoulder and running to the point of exhaustion. And
but our first introduction to him, he seemed like he was a much better tactician.
Yeah.
Sure.
And that's the reason why this is really catching me off guard because look, when Tree said what, he can get it. Back then, when he was like the man, right? I was like, yeah, he's smart. This guy is as young as he is. He knows how to manage a battlefield.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And in this situation, he's like aloof somehow and doesn't understand the greater purpose of the bridge crews.
All I'm thinking about is
I was a little caught off by that one. So
the only thing I'm thinking of is special forces training. Like, so I don't know if you ever have read up on like Navy SEAL training and like Hell Week and what they go through. But the hardest part is not necessarily the physical part; it's the sleep deprivation. You're only
the sleep deprivation is everything. I think these guys.
It's an entire week, and you're only allowed to sleep 8 hours total the entire week.
It is torture. I mean, literally, it is torture. It is classified as torture.
Oh, it is, yeah. And then you can drop out at any time and,
right?
and quit the program. I mean, they don't force you to do this, but you have to. It's an entire week, and you get 8 hours total of sleep. And basically, they have you doing really complex,
a lot of water.
Yeah, problem solving type stuff with
like
extreme sleep deprivation.
Yeah.
Borderline insane. And that's how they train our special forces. America.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is why they are scary. That's reason too why a lot of them have like a swagger when you meet some SEALs.
Yeah,
they have a swagger,
SEALs,
but because they're like, look, if you haven't been through what we've been through, then you're not. And that's the reason why anybody who's ever lied about being a Navy SEAL, I'm like, you deserve to get ridiculed by every Navy SEAL out there. Because I'm like, do not even for a moment
we have a whole lot
what
of
these
SEALs.
guys go through.
Yeah, we have a lot of SEAls around here because Little Creek, a naval base.
Oh, yeah. I meet them all the time.
Several Navy SEALs teams.
Yep.
And back when I was in...
Go to a Virginia Beach, hang out at a bar, stay out late enough, you will run into a Navy SEAL. Yeah.
And when you meet one.
Because they will incessantly talk about themselves at some point in time.
You have to be borderline psychotic to actually do it, I think. It's they
have a swagger. They have a swagger, and I got all respect for them, but they got a swagger about them.
I played paintball with them one time. Did I ever tell you that story? I used to play paintball a lot, and there was a Navy SEAL squad that came out to play on a weekend. Whole squad came, and I got picked to be on their team. I didn't fire a single shot the entire time. My job was to take my head out and try to give them a visualization of where the shots are coming from, and they handled the rest.
So
were you the rich crew bait?
I was the bait to sit there, put my head up, and get shot at. I'm like,
wow.
About 20 yards ahead, slide to the right, 2 branches up. There's a tree falling over, and he's like, got it, out. Like, take him out. Like, I was like, all right.
Like, basically, you were the fox with the broken leg. It's what you're telling me.
Yeah, exactly.
They were playing Alan Whack-A-Mole.
Yeah, pretty much.
Wow. Okay.
They're good though.
But as for what you were saying, Alando, about him being kind of blindsided by it, I think it makes sense because, like, after he went to jump off the honor chasm, he needed something to live for, right? He needed something to fight for. So he's like, what can I have that is mine that I can grow and build and hang on to hope? And that was his entire focus because he knows it's, deep down, he knows that it's hopeless. And I also think he was hoping to get noticed by the higher up people because he did say that a few times. He's like, oh, these soldiers noticed this. True. This soldier noticed me. And, so he's also like a 19-year-old with something to prove. Right? Like, he actually is a good soldier and he wants people to know that. He wants to prove himself. So I think that was mostly where his brain was. And because he thought, oh, well, nobody really pays attention to bridge crew. We can't really affect anything. It's just us. I can keep us alive.
Right.
So I think all of that was a factor.
I guess I still had just some logic issues with this piece. But, maybe it's the issue of I'm looking at it through my near 50-year-old eyes versus
19-year-old.
A guy who's like, a teenager essentially still, and maybe that's the problem is that, I'm not thinking of it from that perspective, but I just keep thinking back to when we were first introduced to him on the battlefield, his awareness, his general understanding of war, armies, etc. And I feel like this is a different Kaladin now when it comes to that. I'm like, well, it was kind of
selfish. It was definitely selfish of him, but I feel like he feels like he's been taken out of any kind of light eyes army. Like, his bridge crew is his bridge crew. Right. I don't think he feels part of the whole army.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
Until now, he's been like disciplined and realized he actually hurt a lot of other people. And I think he cares more about the soldiers that he got hurt by accident by his actions than the actual
right. Well, because 2 died while he was gone, while he was, recuperating.
Yeah.
But Dunny's still here. Yay, Dunny.
Dunny is still. So after the bridge run, later in the evening,
You sound like a SpongeBob. Nice.
Yeah.
Later that evening.
5 hours later.
5 hours later.
Yeah. Bridge 4 decides to give Rock a gift for making stew every night.
Wasn't that so cute?
It was cute. I love this. Yes.
Yeah. He's like a little kid at Christmas. Got teary-eyed and ran into the barracks.
Teary-eyed and did like run to the barracks. I was like, oh man.
That was a cute scene.
Everybody's been in that situation where like, you don't see me cry. Look over there.
And he runs away with his present, and he comes back with his like face all shaved.
Yeah. Well, it's a weird shaving though. It's like it's just kind of like right
this
like
part, and then he left
here,
like
just like right here. All this is still hairy, but he's like right here, and then he was like, "Hey, look, my shaving kit's for everybody.
Yeah,
that's how we do things." And I was like, "Yo, my heart warmed up a little bit."
I love him.
Oh yes, absolutely. Which is when he dies, it will rend me asunder. I'm sorry. I feel like it's being telegraphed that he's gonna die.
Orlando, no.
I'm sorry. I'm just being honest.
That are like Tian die.
Rock.
So
that's my thing. Anytime someone comes up and they're like, "This young strapping boy who's scared and doesn't know anything," I'm like, "You're gonna die."
Infamously from Forget Paris, I always remember Billy Crystal's like always the guy who's like, "Yo, I can't wait to go back to Yonkers." He's like in war. I can't wait to go back to Yonkers. I'm gonna get a Coney Island hot dog and run away. Yeah, shot in the head. It's always that dude, right? Rock is gonna be the one.
Yeah. Well,
he's gonna rally the troops. It's gonna rally the troops to get behind him because Rock is gonna die. But it's not long for this world. That's my guess. Theory time.
So while Rock's gone, Dunny serves some soup, and Kaladin realizes that only Sigzil doesn't come and join. So he goes to talk to Sigzil, and Sigzil's being a little distant, not answering too many questions about his backstory and that kind of stuff, but then starts talking about where he's from. He's from Merbethia, and starts to talk really about the way they do executions there. And I think he wants to, he's talking about how almost everyone chooses to the hopeful option, and kind of the mentality of bridge crews as well. Like, I mean, you could just jump in the autochasm. That's an option, but no one ever takes that option because there's a chance. And the eyes of red and blue, they hang someone down on this cliff, and there's a type of sea animal that will eat you.
They cut their cheeks, right?
They cut their cheeks. All they see is the blue.
So because I'm a little lost from this. Yes, so they cut their cheeks, and then they say the hope is they hang them in the water,
like over the water,
like
right over the water,
so
the fish can jump
right over the water, right? So now something is able to jump up out of the water and nip their face. Is that correct?
Yes.
Now we don't know what the size of this thing is because it wasn't explained.
No. They said it was like a chasm fiend, but not as big as a chasm fiend that lived in the ocean.
It was that. It's that size.
Yeah,
so basically,
you can just come up and eat them.
You're eating the whole body. So if it jumps out of the water, it's like the whole body is getting eaten at once.
Yeah.
And nobody's ever survived this.
Yeah.
No. But it's the hope that keeps them alive.
Okay.
The blue of the sea and the red of the blood. That's the
blood that they have. For some reason, the blood, which is cut here, and I guess somehow or another when you're hanging upside down, I guess it drains enough into the eyes. Yeah. Okay, I didn't remember the size of these things, but now you said it's a little bit smaller than a chasm fiend. Then I'm like,
and they said they're big enough to have a gem heart as well, but not as big as the gem hearts the chasm fiends have.
Yeah, but we don't really know how big is gem heart again? I mean, because now my gem size understanding is completely jacked.
Right.
Is it an apple mouse or is it a soccer ball? I don't know.
Chasm fiend gem hearts.
I don't know what the size
two hands to hold.
Right.
That big, maybe.
Can I hold it with my safe
hand? Will it fit in a bread box?
Yeah.
Will it fit in a bread box?
Is there a carrot in the box? Isn't that like a British TV show? Carrot in the box. I'm not sure.
Is it the size of Gwyneth Paltrow's head at the end of 7?
There you go. For chasm fiends, about the size of a basketball.
Okay, that makes sense.
Basketball? Okay.
Yeah, like a two-handed. Yeah, that makes sense to me. So
first of all, they need to play basketball on this planet so that way I can have a frame of reference. They can be like, "Oh, it's the size of an NBA ball."
Yeah.
Okay.
It'd be really great if Brandon Sanderson would just use like real life things to describe his things he's talking about.
How dare he not?
Basketball
right?
I know. I mean, it's like the size of a medium-sized
basketball
rock.
on this planet would be
the size of 2 heads of cabbage. Boom! There you go.
Yeah, that works. It's 3 tomatoes high.
Heirloom tomatoes high.
Yes.
Yeah,
because it's not cherry tomatoes high, right?
No.
No, use anything instead of metric. Anything. Yeah. So eventually Rock comes back, clean shaven. Yeah, and that's when he tells everybody, that everyone can shave.
Yep.
Yeah, and
Kaladin shave your balls with these.
You.
Yeah.
I know. I went there. I had to.
I know you did. What the hell?
Because if someone takes a razor and they're like, "I'm gonna go shave," and then they come back and their face is still full hair, you'd be like,
"Oh God,
I dipped my balls in it." That's a callback if you know that show. Anyways, yeah. So Kaladin's kind of going to despair after Sigil's story and after realizing that they're cannon fodder. He's getting back to the old Richard ways of just being like, screw life. Emo Kaladin's coming back out because realizes there's no chance of survival. It's just.
Yeah. An alive bridge crew or an alive bridgeman failed, right? Mm-hmm. That's what he said.
Yep. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So,
all right. Yeah. So final chapter for the night, chapter 41 of Alds and Milk.
Wait, I want to talk about Sigil more.
Let's talk about Sigil.
Yeah. You know who Sigil reminds me of?
Who?
Sazed.
Sazed. Okay.
Really?
Does he a little remind you of Sazed?
I don't get that vibe. I mean, again, I'm not trying to, deter you on your
You're allowed to have
theories,
your own opinion.
But yeah, but I didn't get that vibe.
She says you're allowed to be wrong. Okay.
I'm going to be paying attention now that you said that.
I'll just judge you. No, it's just like that first interaction of him being like a scholar. And I also think that the narrator used the same voice for Sazed. Like very similar voice. So maybe that's it because he kind of
because I mean Sazed has a really affected type accent. It's like very staccato. So I guess I don't think of it that way only because I don't really hear it that way. But now that you said that, I'll be paying more attention going forward.
It could also be that their names both start with S.
Yeah.
I'm sure
they both have 2 syllables.
Nope, that's not. Nope, I doubt that. No.
I just got a Sazed vibe.
No, I think if you have a vibe, I mean, that's the vibe you're picking up.
Yeah.
Oh.
I don't remember.
But I didn't get that vibe. That's all I'm saying.
That's all right.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's all I wanted to say about that.
In my head, I picture Sigil as a young Don Cheadle. Interesting.
Okay, now that I can see.
I don't know who that is.
Don Cheadle's the War Machine from the MCU movies. The friend of Robert Downey Jr.'s character, Tony Stark.
I have
Hotel
watched
Rwanda. He's the guy that Captain Planet college humor
recognize them. Hold on.
I have barely watched any Marvel DC movies.
Okay. Don Cheadle was also in Oceans. He's in Oceans 11, 12, 13, but he's got like.
Okay, yeah. I do know his face now that I see it.
Yeah. Okay. All I think was Don Cheadle in that one scene in Avengers. He's like talking about going back in time and killing Thanos. He's like almost like killing Hitler, and he's like,
yeah. I have not watched a single one with Thanos in it. I really liked. I used to read comics, maybe not as much as you did, but I liked the comics. And then when I was a kid, I was super into X-Men. And then when the superhero movies started coming out, and I started getting into Iron Man, and I watched the first Iron Man and the second Iron Man and the first Fantastic Four, and then that's it.
When you say the first Fantastic Four, you're talking about the one that came out with
Jessica Alba,
and
I think so.
All the other characters from that.
Yeah,
because there's two of those movies. There's two of those movies, and then it's a reboot.
And I watched all the Spider-Mans when I was a kid, but like
when we say X-Men, I mean, do you remember any of the storylines from the X-Men comics that you read back in the day? Just so I could get a general feel for like when you were New Mutants. Zool, yes. Sorry, I'm a
it was like
huge New Mutants fan.
I remember like the Jean Grey storyline like a lot, like her starting to come into her power and turn into like the
Phoenix. Yeah. Yes, I have. Okay, so we're in the same. I have X-Men. I have every X-Men comic book from 94 to 350.
Oh, nice.
And that was like my sweet spot, and I love all those books. Yes, and they will never get sold.
No, of course not. And then I remember like, it must be the New Mutants with like Shadowcat and.
That's Excalibur. Well, I mean, Shadowcat, Kitty Pryde, yes.
Yeah, and like all those new kids coming in. But it's been so long, and I just stopped getting into superhero movies. So I'm like, they're all the same. Like, good guys are going to win, the bad guys are going to lose. Like, I've seen this movie. I don't care.
Yeah. Shadowcat, and she had Lockheed, the little dragon. Mm-hmm. Yes, and Lockheed, by the way, if they could make a real Lockheed, I would be like all about that. Make a robotic Lockheed that I can have on my shoulder all the time. Just sit right here on my shoulder, just Lockheed, just hanging out. Please and thank you, powers that be.
There you go. Got the comic book. There you go. So X-Men 129 was the first Kitty Pryde.
I'm a bad nerd.
And that book.
I don't know. Actually, I went to the movies to see Dark Knight, like the actual movie theater, and I fell asleep watching Dark Knight.
Really? No kidding.
Because I think it's because like when I was younger, my dad would always like put these action movies on, and I'm like getting ready for sleep, and I would just fall asleep on the couch to these action movies. So it's just kind of like a thing that's in my head to do that now. I'm conditioned.
Got you.
I don't know.
Okay.
Not for me though.
Yeah, I respect that.
Sorry, nerds.
All right.
I love you still though.
Look, and
okay.
I will say this too. I have read so many comic books over. I mean, obviously, I have a bunch of comic book stuff in my office, and I have comic books everywhere here. But I don't know what it is about DC books. I could not get into them because I just feel like they got like so crazy with some of the, the universe building and stuff. And I was like, I just can't. And so there's only certain DC books that I have, and there's like the stuff that everybody knows about, like the new Robin, the death of Superman, stuff like that. But really, DC has really been hard for me to get into.
Yeah.
So, here's what it is. All right, moving on. Segue count is at, we're at 14? 14 for segue count?
14. So, chapter 41 of Alds and Milp.
Now, I cannot wait for somebody to explain what this chapter title means. Let's go. I want to hear it.
5.5 years ago. Right Lord Roshone and his son Rillar were attacked on a hunt. And they're not doing too well.
Wait, by the way, are these flashbacks the only chapters that don't have the of course we used to call them the bitchographs and stuff, because there was no lead in on this one, and I noticed it.
Every time there's flashback, there's none.
Okay, I didn't notice it until now, and then I was like, I've missed this the entire time. Okay, got it.
So they're working on both Bright Lord Roshone and his son, and Liren then turns his attention to Roshone, and Roshone is super upset. It's like, what are you doing to help my son? And Liren refuses and starts going through his guidelines as a surgeon. Which is it's definitely a what's the word I'm looking for? Not cliche, I guess cliche type thing, like where you're doing like the listing out things and like, see that scene. The last one. Yeah, okay. Mm-hmm. But it's still effective. It's a plot device or whatever you call it. But it says that when there's 2 pages, if the wounds are equal, treat the youngest first. And he's like, my son's younger. He goes, if the wounds are not equally threatened, treat the worst wound first. It's like, see, my son. He goes, in the third guideline, which supersedes the first 2, a surgeon must know when someone is beyond their ability to help.
Right.
So.
Yeah.
Which is why doctors get God complexes.
Yeah.
because you're basically making the choices of like who will live and who will die. I mean, it's rough.
My brother jokes around about it. They have dark sense of humor too because they see a lot of death.
I think you have to.
My brother's a surgeon, so he has
so much pain and death.
He has very dark humor about death. But yeah, but as he always puts it, you can keep a refrigerator alive until it gets out of the surgery room. He says, "I'll keep him alive till they leave my surgery room, so my record stays great."
Yeah.
So I never lost a patient.
And so what you just said
5 minutes after I left the room, but
and so we'll just put the word triage. That was, I mean, the concept of triage, which is actually, I mean, if you think about it in human history, it's still relatively new.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, triage didn't come around until like the late 1800s, early 1900s. The concept of triage. Oh, yeah. I mean, which is the reason why the Civil War is like one of the first examples. When you talk about like the birth of like nursing and all this kind of stuff, it's a concept that is taking a long time to understand, and it's so cold when you hear it, but it makes so much sense for the greater good. It's like, yeah, I know you came in here first. I know that, you're on the gurney and I'm working on you, but your wounds, I could spend 2 hours on, you are not going to get better. The guy that came in after you, I can save him right now. Yeah, it sounds heartless and cold, but it's a sensical thing, So yeah. All right.
Yeah. True. But yeah, so
we saved the one guy at least.
Yeah, saved for sure. But
Lyran's knife that becomes like controversial.
Yeah, Lyran's knife comes dangerously close to a major artery, and he hesitates.
Yeah, femoral artery.
By the way, I was the foreman on a jury for a guy that stabbed somebody in the leg and hit the femoral artery, and he died. And that was a crazy experience. I mean, but luckily we all came to the right conclusion that it was like not intentional. He didn't try to kill him. It was a defensive maneuver.
Yeah.
There's that. But he hit the femoral artery and he was dead in like minutes.
Yeah.
So it's what it is.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yeah. But he hesitates, handshakes, and then continues to save Roshan's life. Later afterwards, Kaladin asks Liran, why didn't he just cut the artery and let Roshan die? And Liran answers, wouldn't have solved any of their problems. And then Liran would have just been a murderer. And he's not a killer, basically what he said. They'd send another Light Eyes in, and it wouldn't be any better. It's just someone else would come in that just as much as a prick. So, yeah.
Yeah, he would have got blamed again.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yep.
I mean, he's still going to get blamed for the kid.
I don't think he's that bad of a guy, though, too. I don't think Roshan is that bad.
Yeah, even if Light Eyes don't care about life, someone has to start caring, I think is what the line he says. So.
Yeah, I think he's kind of a dick, but I guess he's not evil.
Dick, but, thank you. And I stand by that I don't think he is that terrible. I think it's just the fact that there's like this whole paradigm shift when you've had somebody that you've had all this alignment with, and now there's somebody new. And it's so abrupt that you're like, oh, he sucks. And I'm like, does he really, though? What did he really do that was so terrible?
He was mean to the guy that we like.
I mean,
no, he's a meanie.
Some aristocrat type noblemen are pretty much horrible, wasteful human beings.
This guy didn't come in to institute like slavery. He didn't come in and be like, oh, well, you know what? I need you to like submit all of your firstborn female children to me to be in my concubine. He wasn't that guy. I mean, it could be a lot worse. I don't feel like he's on that crazy bad level, and that's the reason why I'm like, I'm not seeing it.
I'm trying to remember the name of the guy. Hold on, what was his name? the French captain, Chalmares, that the sinking of the Medusa. Did you hear that story? It's like one of the worst sea time disasters ever. It was definitely like Noble type stuff, like where the guy was just an asshole.
Okay. Yep. Okay. The moment you said the guy was an asshole, it all came rushing back to me like immediately.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yes.
Yeah. Where he had no experience at all. Like this is a great history.
He was a buffoon.
He was a buffoon. He was a friend of the King of France. It was after Napoleonic War with Louis the 18th. So Louis the 16th's cousin.
I always get all the numbers mixed up, but 18th,
it was a friend of his, and they gave him a commission to like take over this giant. And he never had commanded any kind of ship that
should have never been in that position.
Never been in the position at all, and then decides to try to break a record without any knowledge at all, and just cross over these shoals.
Fumbled his way up the chain, essentially.
Yeah, and wrecks his boat. And then,
oh my goodness,
because he wrecked the boat onto a reef, he gets the bright idea that he doesn't want to. He needs to take weight off to get off the reef, but he doesn't want to lose his cannons because they're worth money. So he has them build a giant raft out of all the scrap wood from the ship to put the cannons on the raft. But then a storm comes in, and they abandon ship onto the raft and throw the cannons overboard. But then the noblemen take the lifeboats and leave the 150 people on this raft. And they start trying to tow them to shore and realize that it's too much work. So they just cut the raft loose.
Cut it loose.
And just left them out there at sea, like literally just a few miles off the coast. And over the next few days, I think only 15 people survived out of the 150.
Yeah, they all.
Yeah,
like
I've seen a painting of this.
Yeah, the painting's in the Louvre. The
right,
that's
right. There's a painting.
Yeah, the famous painting of it. But there's cannibalism and like crazy. It was like Hunger Games. It was like Hunger Games on crack. Like they were given.
I didn't know like the story, but I have definitely seen.
Yeah, so the story was on the
guys.
raft. There was 1 barrel of wine and 1 barrel of hardtack to eat, and 150 people, and there were like, I think it was like 7 or 8 days before they were saved. But in 7 or 8 days, 150 people went to 50 people. And by day 3, they had resorted to cannibalism. Like, it was insane. Like, it's one of the most, like, insane stories. Yeah, just
it's so horrific. It's horrific.
But the thing about the asshole, the old man, he gets to shore within a day. And rather than going back out for the raft, he goes back out to the wreck site like 54 days later. Not to recover bodies, but because he remembers he forgot his gold. And wants to go back there. And there were still 3 people left on the original wreck that had survived 54 days.
Oh, wow.
Like, but he didn't come to save them. He came to get his gold. Like that's a complete asshole.
That's crazy.
Imagine that when you walk up on the ship, you're like, oh, hi.
Oh, you're still alive.
Tom, Jerry, and Glenn.
I'm just going to my gold.
Yeah. While I'm here, I'm also going to get this gold. But I'm so glad you guys survived.
I'm so glad you guys made it.
And play that off.
Well, I don't think that this guy is anything like that guy.
Yeah, probably not. Yeah.
No, he's not there. But
is Rashon, right? Yeah. Rashon. Yeah, so Rashon just wanted to get the gold back or the gems back. Like, that's literally it. He's like, this guy stole from us. I want that back. Like, that's why we don't like him. When it turns out that Kaladin's dad really did kind of steal these spheres.
Yeah.
So Kaladin's dad really is in the wrong here.
Yeah.
Yeah, at the end of the day.
Yeah, but we don't like Rashon because he doesn't like Lian. Liam? Lian.
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 Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But he's actually probably is the good guy.
Yeah. But Kaladin definitely doesn't think so. Kaladin realizes that given the option, he would have let Rashon die, and actually thinks about it in terms of surgery. Sometimes body parts are beyond repair. Sometimes people need to be removed, just like body parts do. And that's what Kaladin thinks. That sometimes you got to break a few eggs.
Yeah. If you want to make an omelet.
Mm-hmm.
So the title of this book, of this chapter.
There we go. Because
Alds and Milp. I don't.
Yeah. So Ald and Milp were mentioned, but they're 2 people that were left out, like wherever these injuries happen with this white spine thing.
Right. Who they say are not going to get, and they're not going to get.
Yeah.
The type of treatment, right?
No, if they're still alive,
you're gonna die.
The only time we hear about them, I don't know why they're the title.
Thank you, Tree. Thank you.
Thank you. Doesn't make any sense.
It makes no sense whatsoever because it's like, oh, okay, it's the point that they put so much effort into the Rashones.
So yeah, all of them who are also injured were left behind in the honey parter by orders of Rashon, so they could hurry and carry the mortally injured Rylar to Lirin. So there were 2 people that were also on the hunting party that were left behind by Rashon,
right,
to try to save his son.
But then it said that, oh, okay, well, they're bringing they found them and they're going to bring them, and he's like, oh, well, they're probably already dead.
Yeah, and that's it.
And I'm just giving my quick summary, but that's basically the way it's phrased. It's like, oh, they're already dead. I was like, then why is the chapter named this?
Yeah, why even bring them up at all?
I don't know. Maybe to make him pay him like the Medusa, like Rashon's like the kind of guy that just leaves his men behind. I don't know. That's what it made me think of, and that's why I thought that story was.
So it's supposed to make us hate Rashon more?
I guess.
I guess
that's what my thought was. Yeah.
All right.
Well, he's still alive, so there's still time for us to give us reasons.
Yeah. There's still time. Anyway. So fun chapters tonight. We talked a lot of tangents.
We did.
Fun times.
It's always fun times.
So many tangents.
All the tangents.
We didn't even talk about Rock's stew all that much.
We didn't.
And all
what do we have to say about Rock's stew? What about the stew?
Well, that's why he got his shaving kit, because they're like, we appreciate that you cook while we all relax, and you make delicious food, and you put the love into the stew every day.
That's right.
So here's your present. It was all about the stew.
The stew's not ready.
No soup for you.
No soup for you. Stew not ready.
Yeah.
I
Anyways,
figured we had to talk about food a little bit more.
We got a little bit more food.
There it is.
Yeah.
It was about that time tree.
That time. Anything else or any other questions or anything we missed?
I think we covered just about everything.
Right. Favorite character?
You want me to go first this week?
Sure.
Go ahead. Go. Oh, well, I'm just gonna pick Rock. Rock in his new facial hairdo.
Nice.
Got it.
Pick
was
Syl,
it Teft? Teft was the one he had the side conversation, etc., a little backstory stuff about, right?
Sigil had the side
I
conversation.
guess I do want to talk about Teft a little bit more.
Yeah, Teft was intriguing to me. Mm-hmm. So I'm going to say Teft because I like being teased.
Okay.
And I like wanting to know more about you.
I'll pick Syl's sword. Not Syl, just the sword.
Syl's Minecraft sword. Her little toothpick sword.
The sword.
Yeah,
not Syl, just the
olive
sword.
Cocktail sword.
The cocktail sword, yeah.
The cocktail sword. We're going to call it can we call it the cocktail weenie? Yeah. I would like that.
Yes, we can.
I pick milk.
Milk.
Milk? Oh, no.
Milk. I didn't really think too much
of milk. Somebody we never see, but just milk. Just milk.
I mean, he's got a chapter named after him, so.
Yeah, I mean, there you go.
So.
I haven't seen a Teft chapter called Teft in it. No. So.
No.
Nope.
Haven't.
Just milk and all.
Oh, for me. It was between Teft and who's our guy with the. Oh shoot! He's got that quick way of speaking.
Lopin? The Lopin? No, he wasn't much in this.
Lupin. There you go. Thank you. I knew it was like Lupin, but it's not quite Lupin.
The Lopin.
Yeah.
It's the Lopin.
That's my backup would have been Lopin, but he's not really in it for much.
Yeah.
So I was like, I'm not really quite there yet, but I'll go with that.
Yeah, good choices. You thought more about it than I did, but Rock's always a good choice.
Only because I had extra time because you went first. So thank you.
I know you always, I always make you go first. So I figured
No, you keep saying that, and I really feel like you keep believing that happens, but I think that you have gone first the last 5 times.
Really?
I'm going to go check because I said I was going to do this. I'm going to go check the historical record. I think you've gone first so much more than you think you have.
Nice.
I know you are, but I just also want to make sure that you recognize that no, you are not like putting me in that position all the time.
Okay, well then for the next 5 times you can go first.
How about I do the next one time?
The next one time.
The next 3
Because I don't know what we're going to be running into. We might go into a gauntlet of people, and it's like
the next 3.
The next time we're going to be doing 3 chapters, not 4, just 3. Just 3.
Okay.
And those chapter titles are chapter 42, The Meaning of Life, the Universe, and Everything, is Beggars and Bardmaids.
Okay, that sounds like World
And then
Time.
The Wretch. And
The Wretch.
And The Weeping.
The Weeping.
Okay.
Wait, haven't we heard of The Weeping already? Isn't that like a season?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we've heard of it. Like, so the high storms come, the Weeping is the season when the high storms come. Yeah.
I don't remember that.
Yeah,
you got better memory than me.
I remember someone saying something like, during
when they're talking about planning the people that predict the high storms, and they talk about the Weeping.
Oh, I just thought the Weeping was like winter for some reason.
It just drizzles. It doesn't. There's no storms during the Weeping. It's just a constant drizzle.
So it's not like the long winter.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's like the rainy season.
Yeah, it's the rainy season, like but not the storm season. There's no storm season, just the drizzle nonstop.
Okay.
Like a while.
Cool.
Yeah. So we'll be doing those 3 chapters next week. So, anyways, how can we be found? thecosmereads.com. Find links to all sorts of cool stuff. Patreon, Discord, merchandise, all that cool stuff. Like, subscribe, do all the cool things for the algorithm. Yeah. Support us.
Patreon. Did you already say that?
I said that, but we can say it again. Patreon.
Support us.
Beetlejuice.
Support us. Beetlejuice.
If you say it 3 times, you speak it into existence.
Yeah.
Thank you.
We'll shout you out and give an episode just for you.
That's right.
Anyway.
Ooh, wait, what? I missed that.
Yeah, we do that.
We do shout outs. We'll do shout outs.
Yeah, no, but we do like a special episode for Patreon stuff. We did it.
Yeah, we do live recordings. We did it a lot. We haven't done it. I don't think we did one for Elantris because we were shuffling so much. We might have did one for Elantris with Will leaving.
No, I don't think we did.
We did one for
a
every
live
book.
recording.
We did one for every book in Mistborn Era 1. We did.
I know we definitely did
a reaction.
2.
Yeah, we can do one for this one. I have a couple of chapters we can pull from for this.
Okay, cool.
If we want to do that, we can do one.
That's cool. So do people get to like pick a topic for their like shout out episode or whatever?
I don't know. We can.
A topic?
No, I thought you were the one that said they get like a special episode.
Oh, we just say, hey, this episode's for you.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
And then we do basically
whatever.
This episode is brought to you by.
I see. Okay, I understand.
It's Stormlight After Dark, basically.
Boy, crazy 69 420.
Okay, there's all that.
there's those screen names from 1990 and that you never changed. You know, like.
Yeah.
I had one of those the other day in my office. They gave me their email. And they're like, "Yeah, I just haven't changed since I was a kid." I was like, "You realize email's free, right?" And I just
right. You can just go get a new one.
Just saying, you can get a new one.
But it's inconvenient.
It's but you're also 40-something years old, and
all my points go to that email.
Points. I don't know why that made me laugh.
Because it's true. It's funny.
Every so often, Tree, you just get me. You catch me off guard on those. All my points, my airline miles went to my email.
Exactly.
No.
How am I going to get to Atlanta now?
All right. We'll go do all that great stuff. We'll see you guys next time.
Bye.
Thanks, everybody.
Bye. Thank you for watching the Cosmere Reads.
Gosh dang fresh. Gosh dang fresh.